Explore how to navigate spiritual darkness and unlock true transformation. Awakening the soul in shadows, facing the abyss to find your true self. Have you ever felt lost in your own life? As though you were standing at the edge of a vast abyss with no way forward and no way back. This is what we often call spiritual darkness, a state where everything feels disconnected. As if the light of your soul has dimmed. I want you to imagine this state not as a punishment but as an invitation. An invitation to explore the depths of yourself. To walk into the unknown. And to uncover the true transformation that lies within. When I speak of spiritual darkness, I'm not talking about something you need to fear. I'm talking about something we all face at some point in life. You might call it a crisis of faith. A deep sadness. Or a prolonged state of confusion. Whatever name you give it. The essence is the same, it is the soul's way of pushing us toward growth. It strips us of distractions, illusions, and comforts so that we may confront the core of who we are. But why does this happen? Why does the soul seem to drag us into these shadowed places? Perhaps the better question is, what does this darkness have to teach us? Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever truly asked yourself what lies behind the discomfort? The fear? Or the emptiness you feel? You see, spiritual darkness is like the soil in which a seed is planted. It feels cold, dark, and isolating. But without this environment, the seed could never germinate and grow. The first step in navigating this darkness is to embrace it. Don't resist it. Resistance only creates more suffering. Instead, sit with it. Allow yourself to feel the weight of it fully. This may sound counterintuitive. Why would anyone want to willingly embrace pain? But the truth is, the pain contains wisdom. Within every uncomfortable moment, there is a lesson waiting to be uncovered. I once heard a spiritual master say, "Your suffering is your teacher in disguise." I didn't understand this at first. How could something so painful be a teacher? But then, I began to notice something extraordinary. The more I leaned into my discomfort, the clearer the lessons became. I began to see patterns in my life. Stories I had been telling myself. And beliefs that no longer served me. Now, I want you to ask yourself a profound question. What if your greatest challenges are not here to destroy you but to awaken you? When we begin to see spiritual darkness as a phase of awakening, everything changes. It no longer becomes something to escape but something to explore. This brings us to the second step, seeking understanding. To truly navigate spiritual darkness, we must become explorers of our inner world. This means asking difficult questions. What am I running from? What part of myself am I unwilling to face? What beliefs or stories are holding me back from living authentically? The answers to these questions may not come easily. And that's okay. In fact, the process of seeking them is often more transformative than the answers themselves. It's in the seeking that we begin to see glimpses of the light within us. Now, as you sit with these questions, you might feel a sense of overwhelm or frustration. That's natural. This journey is not meant to be easy. If it were, it wouldn't be transformative. Growth is inherently uncomfortable. But it is also profoundly rewarding. One practical exercise you can try is journaling. Take a blank page and write down everything you feel without censoring yourself. Don't worry about grammar or coherence, just let your thoughts flow. You might be surprised by what emerges. Sometimes, the act of putting pen to paper allows hidden truths to surface. Another powerful tool is meditation. I'm not talking about a rigid or formal practice. Simply sit in stillness for a few minutes each day. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And observe your thoughts. Don't try to control them or push them away. Just observe. This practice helps us develop awareness and teaches us to be present with whatever arises. But here's the most important thing to remember: you are not alone in this journey. Spiritual darkness can make us feel isolated. But the truth is, millions of others have walked this path before you. They have faced their own shadows and emerged stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Let me leave you with one final question for now. What if the darkness you fear is the very thing that will lead you to your light? Illuminating the path, transforming fear into freedom. As we venture further into the journey of navigating spiritual darkness, it's time to confront a profound truth: fear is both the gatekeeper and the guide. Fear often feels like an immovable barrier, blocking us from moving forward. But what if I told you that fear is actually a signpost, pointing us toward the very areas of life where we are meant to grow? Let's start by understanding fear at its core. Fear is not the enemy, it is a natural response to uncertainty, vulnerability, and the unknown. It arises when we are faced with the prospect of change, particularly the kind of change that demands we let go of our old selves. Take a moment to ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of losing? For many of us, the answer lies in our attachments. We are afraid of losing control, stability, or the identities we've built over the years. But here's the paradox: the tighter we cling to these attachments, the more we suffer. True freedom comes not from holding on, but from letting go. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means surrendering to the flow of life and trusting that the universe has a greater plan for you than you could ever imagine. This is where transformation begins. Now, let's dive deeper into the process of transforming fear into freedom. Step 1. Befriend your fear. Fear only has power over us when we resist it. The more we push it away, the larger it looms. But when we turn toward it with curiosity and compassion, its hold on us begins to weaken. Imagine sitting across from your fear as if it were a wise old teacher. Ask it questions. What are you trying to protect me from? What lesson do you want me to learn? How can I honor you without letting you control me? This dialogue may feel strange at first, but it can reveal insights you never expected. You might discover that your fear is rooted in past experiences or inherited beliefs that no longer serve you. Step 2. Lean into discomfort. Freedom lies on the other side of discomfort. But most of us spend our lives avoiding it. We distract ourselves with busyness, entertainment, or material pursuits, hoping to escape the unease within us. What if, instead, you leaned into that discomfort? What if you allowed yourself to feel it fully, without judgment or resistance? Try this exercise: sit in a quiet place and bring to mind something that scares you. Notice how it feels in your body. Is there tightness in your chest? A knot in your stomach? Rather than trying to escape these sensations, breathe into them. Imagine softening around them, as though you were cradling them with kindness. You might be surprised to find that the fear begins to dissolve. It's not that it disappears completely, but its intensity diminishes, and you realize that you are bigger than your fear. Step 3. Reframe the darkness. Spiritual darkness is often misunderstood as a sign of failure or weakness. But what if we saw it as a sacred space, a cocoon where transformation takes place? Consider the metaphor of the butterfly. Before it can soar, it must first retreat into the darkness of the chrysalis. In that darkness, its old form dissolves, making way for something entirely new. Ask yourself, what part of me needs to dissolve so that I can become who I am meant to be? This process requires patience and faith. You may not see immediate results, and that's okay. Trust that the work you are doing in the darkness will one day bear fruit. Step 4. Find the light within. As we navigate the shadows, it's easy to forget that the light we seek is already within us. It has never left. The darkness merely obscures it, like clouds covering the sun. To reconnect with this inner light, practice gratitude. Even in your darkest moments, there is always something to be grateful for: a kind word, a warm meal, or simply the breath in your lungs. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, reminding us of the abundance that surrounds us. Another way to find the light within is through acts of service. When we help others, we step out of our own pain and into a space of love and connection. It could be as simple as listening to a friend, volunteering your time, or offering a smile to a stranger. Step 5. Trust the journey. Perhaps the most difficult part of navigating spiritual darkness is trusting the journey. We want answers, clarity, and resolution, but the path to transformation is rarely linear. It is messy, unpredictable, and filled with detours. But here's the secret: the journey itself is the destination. Every step, every stumble, and every breakthrough is part of your growth. Let me ask you one final question for this part. What would your life look like if you fully trusted the process? Take a moment to visualize this. Imagine living without the need for control, without the constant fear of the unknown. Imagine the freedom, the peace, and the joy that would arise. Emerging from the shadows, living as your transformed self. Now that we have walked through the darkness and begun to understand its purpose, let's explore the next phase of this journey, stepping into the light of transformation. But before we dive in, let me ask you something profound. Who would you be if all the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation were stripped away? The answer to this question is your true self, an essence that has always been within you but has been obscured by the illusions of the world. Transformation is not about becoming someone new, it's about uncovering who you have always been. The nature of transformation. Transformation is often misunderstood as an event, a single moment where everything changes. But in reality, it is a process, a continuous unfolding of your potential. It's like watching a flower bloom, slow, deliberate, and breathtakingly beautiful. As you emerge from the shadows, you might notice a sense of clarity and peace that wasn't there before. But don't mistake this for an end point. Transformation is not a destination, it is a way of being. It is the art of living with authenticity, purpose, and love. But how do we embody this transformation in our daily lives? Step 1. Aligning with your inner truth. Living as your transformed self begins with alignment. This means living in harmony with your values, your passions, and your inner truth. It means letting go of the masks you've worn to please others and embracing the courage to be yourself. Ask yourself, what parts of my life are out of alignment with who I truly am? This might be a challenging question, but it's an essential one. Perhaps you're in a job that drains your energy, a relationship that no longer serves you, or a routine that keeps you stuck. Transformation requires honesty, brutal honesty, with yourself. Once you've identified these misalignments, begin making small changes. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with one area where you can live more authentically. Maybe it's expressing your true feelings in a conversation or pursuing a hobby that brings you joy. Step 2. Cultivating daily awareness. Transformation thrives on awareness. Without it, we risk falling back into old patterns and habits. Awareness is like a flashlight that illuminates the path ahead, helping us navigate life with intention. One simple way to cultivate awareness is through mindfulness. Throughout your day, take moments to pause and check in with yourself. Ask, What am I feeling right now? What is my body telling me? Am I acting from a place of love or fear? These small check-ins can prevent you from slipping into autopilot and help you stay connected to your inner self. Step 3. Embracing vulnerability. To live as your transformed self, you must embrace vulnerability. This means being willing to show up as you are, without the need to hide or protect yourself. It means sharing your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Why is vulnerability so powerful? Because it is the bridge that connects us to others. When we allow ourselves to be seen, we give others permission to do the same. This creates a ripple effect of authenticity and love. But vulnerability is not easy. It requires courage, the courage to face rejection, judgment, and uncertainty. The good news is that the more you practice vulnerability, the stronger you become. Let me ask you, what would happen if you allowed yourself to be fully seen, without fear of judgment? Step 4. Serving others. Transformation is not just about personal growth, it's about using your growth to serve others. When you step into your light, you have the power to illuminate the path for those around you. Think about the people in your life who are struggling. How can you support them? How can you share the wisdom you've gained from your journey? Service doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as listening, offering encouragement, or sharing your story. Remember, your light is contagious. When you shine, you inspire others to do the same. Step 5. Trusting the cycle. Finally, understand that transformation is cyclical. Just as the seasons change, so too will your spiritual journey. There will be moments of light and moments of darkness, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. The key is to trust the cycle. Embrace the highs and the lows, knowing that each phase has its purpose. The darkness teaches us to grow, the light teaches us to shine. As we close this journey, let me leave you with one final question. What legacy will you leave as your transformed self? Take this question to heart. Let it guide your actions, your choices, and your way of being. Remember, the journey doesn't end here, it's only just beginning. You have walked through the darkness. You have faced your fears. And now, you stand in the light of your true self. Your transformation is not just for you, it's for the world. Go forth and shine.